The rematch between Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo delivers great ratings and a great overnight rating for Fox on PBC. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus using my link below. It's in the description of all my videos, and it definitely helps the channel. Now, PBC on Fox is killing. You know, they've had a very good year. This was the startup year that they kind of got back into the boxing business, teamed up with Al Heyman. You know, Al Heyman drew criticism when he first came out with PBC in 2015. Some people said it would never work, and you know, I'd rather pay for my boxing than watch boxing on free TV, and you know, just a bunch of crap to hate on black advisor Al Heyman. And he was buying time slots to get on NBC and some of the different networks, ESPN, and they're like, oh, look at him spending money. But over the years, he's fine-tuned that, him and his company, with his promoters, and they've settled with deals with PBC on Fox and Showtime. And to close the year, Fox had a very good card. You know, it's definitely one of the cards of the year. As you guys know, I live in California, so I went to Ontario for this one, and I had a great time. I'm glad I went. You know, it was every bit worth it. From the Carlos Balderas fight with Girian, I forgot his name, but the dude that upset him, F.A. Ajagba's fight was crack. You know, and the Tony Harrison, Jermell Charlo got the stoppage. It was a good competitive fight. You know, it's everything you want. But let me get to the numbers, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the card. So this was released from Fox. This is the information, and I don't want to bore you guys with a bunch of like all the details, but it says a thrilling Harrison versus Charlo title rematch delivers. Saturday's Fox PBC fight night ratings ties as the best since January. So in January, that was Keith Thurman's return after, I don't know how long it was, 2-3 years, you know, where he was on the sideline and injured, and it was supposed to be his get back year in 2018. People want to see him fight Errol Spence. Keith Thurman hadn't come back. So a lot of people were curious how Keith would look, and he fought Jose Cito Lopez in January. Jermell Charlo just tied for the best rating. As you guys see on the screen, Saturday's Fox PBC Fight Night ratings ties with the best since January. Saturday's Fox PBC Fight Night Harrison versus Charlo 2 delivered a 1.3/3 meter market rating. It ties as the best rating for a boxing event on any network since January. And they're comparing it to Thurman versus Lopez, which did 1.5/3 on January 26th. So again, the return of Keith Thurman, someone who had been in there, had good fights on, I think it was CBS when he fought Sean Porter, and then he had the fight on, I want to say Showtime, with Danny Garcia. So that's good. And it was the return of Keith Thurman, as I mentioned. And Texas held Charlo down as well. It says the top 5 markets for the main event were Houston, Dallas, Detroit, St. Louis, and Milwaukee. So the top 2 were, or you know, it looked like Dallas, Detroit, and St. Louis kind of all tied for the same type of viewership. But you see Houston and Dallas is up there, and this is where he's from, Texas, Houston, H-Town to be specific. So this is great news. This is great news for Al Heyman and PBC, and I'm sure it gives Fox confidence. Their first year, they got some good fights, be it pay-per-view. They got Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence. They got Errol Spence, Sean Porter. Those are pay-per-view where they got that money. Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, they got him, you know, off of Showtime and put him on Fox PBC. That was explosive, kind of went viral when Wilder knocked him out with one punch. And then now they got regular TV. So they're really killing the competition, and they're handling business. They're doing numbers. As it sits, PBC has the biggest numbers on television. And see, this, just to give you guys an overview, this number with Charlo, the 1.3, that's the immediate pulse and overnight rating, which doesn't factor in all of the, the different metrics. I don't know all the specifics, but there's different ways to measure. People have gaming consoles, maybe, that tap into the app or devices and things that might not be recorded instantly. Maybe even replays. I don't know, but they have different things that factor into it. So it's just kind of an immediate flash number. Usually that number, if it's trending where they want, which they're saying this is going to go higher. And that's precisely what happened with the Keith Thurman Jose Cito Lopez fight. Once they tally all the numbers fully, the Keith Thurman versus Jose Cito Lopez did over 2 million views. Once they factored in all devices, and so it takes a little bit of time, especially with the holidays and stuff. It's going to take a little bit of time for all the numbers and devices to be computed and, input into whatever the service, because they use a Nelson Media Research company. So, I went to their website, but they factor in different elements, like sometimes replays, ratings. You guys can look it up, but as you can see, I've clicked on it before. They measure different devices, TV ratings and stuff. So for more information, you guys can go to see what they factor in their technology. But they're the kind of the quintessential go-to company that the TVs use to see what kind of ratings the Grammys or BET Awards or whatever did. And it looks like Fox is happy. That's the bottom line. Fox is happy with the numbers, and he's trending well. And the big thing with this is Jermell, Charlo, Tony Harrison, they did a great job building it, both Fox and really the combatants. Plus, it had a good supporting undercard. I told you guys I thought this undercard was way better than even the pay-per-view undercard they had with Deontay Wilder. This was full of fun fights. It might be card of the year. Jermell Charlo himself, he was hungry. He meant everything he said about being hungry and training hard, and because he was clearly well conditioned, and he exploded when the time was right. Some people are saying, oh, but Tony Harrison was winning, outboxing him. This is boxing. So this is exactly why they have 12 rounds of boxing, so you can figure it out, and whatever happens in that 12 rounds, that determines the outcome. So this has kind of been Tony Harrison's kryptonite. He does very well, fades late, and a credit to Jermell Charlo. Part of the reason, in my opinion, that Tony Harrison faded late was his aggression early. He was super aggressive in the first 2-3 rounds. Then he kind of started boxing and then exploding in spots, and he is doing really good body work. I think all this helped to aid in Tony Harrison kind of getting lethargic towards the end. And in my opinion, people were saying, oh, he got too cocky. I think that cocky was a poker face towards the end. I think he wasn't being cocky to showboat. He was wasting time, moving, and his offense was tapering off, and he was using the movement and trying to have a little bit of flair and steal rounds whilst being inactive. He was being less and less active because I think that body work was slowing him down. He was naturally fatiguing, and those heavy-handed shots from Jermell Charlo were starting to grind him down, and Jermell was winning the battle of attrition. So that's why Tony Harrison was doing that. It was almost like a front, like a cover. He's using the showmanship and the matador ole to kind of buy time and impress the crowd and judges, while Charlo just kept punching, and throwing more power shots and things like that. So it was a real good fight. I'm glad it did good ratings. I like to see boxing succeed, especially when it's the rightful thing. People hate on the Charlos, but I think they're good dudes, and they're definitely doing good in their career. Jermell, his only loss is one that could be argued now with him stopping Harrison. you have to keep this in mind. See, I put stuff in a perspective that other people aren't willing to, because a lot of people are cowards. But people, they're like, oh, Jermell was getting outboxed and this and that. But who got knocked down in the fight? So Jermell, obviously he has ability, because Jermell, he was getting outboxed in certain spots, but he knocked his opponent down 3 times. I mean, what part of the game is that where we overlook that the fact that one guy is throwing bombs and dropping an opponent 3 times, you know, to talk about someone getting outboxed? You know, I never really seen Charlo badly hurt in here. It was just a good fight. You know, it was a good high-speed chess match. And the thing I liked about this fight, Harrison Charlo too, is it was a meaningful fight. Of course, it did good ratings. It had a good supporting cast with the undercard. All the from the Hugo Centeno Jr. fight all the way to the main event. You know, F.A. Jagba, Carlos Balderas fight, and then Charlo Harrison too. They all delivered action. It was good paced action. And sometimes with fights like Harrison Charlo too, they don't necessarily, they do more talking in the buildup, and then when you get to the actual thing and you like pumped and amped to see it, they don't come out like they were talking. Charlo allowed Harrison to do a lot of talking. You know, Harrison really stole the show with the talking. Normally you kind of see maybe Charlo the aggressor, but you know, he said stuff to stand his ground, but he made him pay for it. You know, he let Harrison call him all types of names and, you know, kind of jump out of his skin, and he just trained hard and got the victory. So shout out to him and Derek James. Definitely have to look at Derek James as trainer of the year. You know, some people are saying other people, but you got to look at it. Jermell got his belt back and knocked out Jorge Cota, late replacement, because Harrison pulled out of the first, you know, rematch that was scheduled over the summer. I covered both of Charlo's last fights. So Charlo has 2 knockouts this year. And then for his other fighter, Errol Spence, his other prominent fighter, Errol Spence beat Sean Porter and dropped him in a fight of the year. And he dominated Mikey Garcia. How is he not trainer of the year? You know, some people are saying like Eddie Reynoso and stuff. No, I can't. Like Eddie Reynoso, he's a good trainer, of course, but he beat, you know, Julio Cesar Martinez just beat whatever to do, Rosales or whoever, and then Canelo had a boring fight with Kovalev where he got some mystic knockout that he hasn't knocked out smaller guys in the 11th round. He didn't look good in that fight. You know, even in the Jacobs fight, he started off very strong, but then he, you know, at the end, he kind of tapered off, and Jacobs was winning the back half of the fight. Charlo started strong, ended strong, and then he knocked out Jorge Cota in a couple rounds. Errol Spence, you know, he was in a dogfight with Sean Porter, and then he closed really strong because when it was pivotal, he got that knockdown, you know. So, and then before that, Errol Spence, he almost stopped the man, Mikey Garcia, in the 9th round. So Derek James is my vote for trainer of the year. You know, they're going to overlook him. He's a black trainer, you know, so they're probably going to overlook him like they do. But great performance by Charlo. You know, it looks like the viewership was good. Everybody should be happy. Charlo should be happy. He got his belt back. You know, he can enjoy the holidays and, you know, just watch boxing as a spectator. And I can't wait to see what's next. Again, a lot of these motherfuckers is hating and hating on the Charlos and saying this, that, and the third. But you got to respect what they're doing. They talking the talk, walking the walk. Jermell looked great in his fight on Showtime with Dennis Hogan. That was a guy that gave Jaime Munguia a ton of ran through him. And then Jermell proved who's the better fighter and beat Tony Harrison. And he did it by stoppage. No judges needed, nothing. You know, people are still trying to find a way. Fox is putting out information and they happy with the numbers. They're seeing, and this is just the beginning. This was their first year. Got Charlo there. Charlo, his brother, Big Charlo beat J-Rock, but Jermell ain't fought him yet. So just like Big Charlo fought Austin Trout and then Jermell later fought Austin Trout, you got a unification right there you can make. You could do Hurd versus Charlo, which a lot of people wanted to see before he lost his belts, before Hurd lost his belts. You just got a lot of options. You got Erickson Lubin, who's still there. You could do Hurd, Lubin, Charlo, J-Rock. You could mix and match these guys. Edislani Lada still a player. Brian Castano. You got a lot of different options for these dudes. And, oh, you know, I expected more numbers. Bro, Top Rank, they got one fight over 1 million views. ESPN's a big company too. Yeah, you could say it's a premium channel, but so is Showtime, you know? And they have no numbers outside of Crawford Mean Machine that were over 1 million. This did over 1 million, you know, and PBC got like 5 to 8 cards that did, you know, or more, you know, that did numbers on network TV, you know? So it is what it is. The haters gonna hate, but Lions only look good. Let's get it. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts. Those are the ratings from your boy Ego. Let me know how you think I'm doing. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.